Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Amma ba'd. Okay, bros, so inshallah, this is going to be our first lesson in Arabic, Lughatul Arabi. Again, you know, it's always important just to have a bit of an introduction as to why we're doing it, what's it all about, to try and get us motivated and look at the vision plan. So, look, there are many different courses out there that teach you Arabic, and as we discussed last time, it depends if you want to speak it in terms of communication. Is it because you want to be able to read the Arabic newspapers, or is it because you actually want to study the Quran? And so the whole idea of what we're going to embark upon is the purpose of being able to study the Quran. And what I mean by that is that you will be able to do probably two things by the end of this course. And this course, as we said, is going to take probably a year to 2 years to get through. And then it's a continuous journey for all of us. There's two things that you're going to probably be able to do. One, which is the most fundamental reason, is that you're going to be in the world that can appreciate the miracle of the Quran linguistically. That is in a very rare population these days. Right? And the only way you can get there is by understanding the grammatical analysis of the Quran, the perfection of why Allah chose to write in this way. And by having the skills to understand the science of grammar enters you into that world, which is a very unique world and a blessing. And that's why I think if there's no other reason, that is your main reason why you'll sweat, you'll struggle, you'll take time out just to be able to get into that world. And this is what we're going to be able to embark upon, to get you a stage that you start to appreciate the miracle of the Quran linguistically. Okay? So that's number one reason. Number two reason is that it enters you into the world of classical Arabic, which is not spoken today. Okay, which is not written today, okay, but will get you to the closest to the source of the Quran and the years that followed it, in terms of scholars that use the classical Arabic to provide us tafsir, to provide us the classical Arabic dictionary, so that you can then use those material to enhance your knowledge, because you will be able to work out classical Arabic through the grammatical analysis that we're going to do. These are two big objectives. They are very high objectives, but personally I think they're the only objectives that we really wish to have, if we're really true to what we want to do. And regardless of whether it takes us a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, let us aim for those two objectives and start on this journey towards these two main goals. Okay? And so the idea of the lessons is that I want it to be interactive, because it's going to get technical. And so we all want to be on the same page. Right? So let's stop, reverse, restart as many times as we need to. And what I'm going to try to do from just studying it repetitively and teaching it repetitively is trying to give you the material in a way that we're going to be able to understand it. And two, I'm going to try and make sure that you don't necessarily have to write so many notes. Okay? And so the purpose of the video is really as a reminder, because you'll understand some concepts today, but then you'll have to remember, oh, what was that all about? And then that's when the videos can come back, where you can just replay and just go, oh, that was what that concept was about. So that's the whole purpose of the video. It's just as a reminder, a revision, or in case we miss a lesson, then at least we can then we can catch up through the video. Okay? But like I said, because we're dealing with a small group, then we're going to make sure that everyone is more or less on the same page. So if that means revising, going back a lesson, not a problem. I've been doing this course and studying this course repetitively, reversing, revising, and thought I knew it. You know, and 10 lessons later, went back to lesson number 1 and repeated it again and again. And you find when you reverse and go back, it actually helps to consolidate and further improve your understanding. So there's no shame, no issues with us going back to the very basics. And so even for this lesson today, I went back to the basics and I learned so much new things by just going back to the basics. Okay? So let us start, inshallah. And so the way I'm going to actually start this off is really to give you the concept of what the Arabic language actually is. So we can start from the very rudimentary beginnings. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go to the most rudimentary, which is the alphabet. I presume everyone knows the alphabet, but I'm going to start from knowing that we know the alphabet. Where do we go next? All right. So let's start here. Okay. So, can anyone recall how many letters there are in the 29? So there's 29.
Alif and Hamza, sometimes they consider them one, that's 28. But if you take them as two different words, letters, then yeah, it's 29.
So it's 29. And the interesting thing about the 29 harakat, or the letters, is that they don't include the vowels that we have traditionally in the English alphabet. Okay, and so those harakats, okay, are going to be your fatha, your kasra, your dhamma, and your sukoon. Okay,
Wow.
all right. Okay, so this is now the thing is, these are your vowels. Okay, so they're actually the tashkil, okay, of the letters. Okay. And so the one profound statement I'm going to tell you about the Arabic language, okay, and we will repeat this often, is that not only do these harakats help you to pronounce, because if you have the letters like sin, lam, and mim, you can't pronounce that unless you put some harakats, yeah? You can't go film, you have to go salima, yeah? So one, they help with pronunciation, that's the whole purpose of vowels. But what you will also find is that it is actually these things that bring the meaning and the extensive broad meaning of the words. So of any root word in Arabic. And we're going to go through this revise. So I'll explain and clarify as we go on. Okay. So but the one thing I want you to hold is vowels, tashkil, they help to pronounce, but they also provide the comprehensive meanings of the word, which is unlike English, okay? Because the vowels in the English, own letters and words, only help to pronounce. They don't provide any further meaning. These do, okay? And then as we go forward, you'll see how that might be, okay? So there's 29 letters. Now, the thing is, in Arabic, basically, it works on 3 letters, 3 base root letters in terms of creating words. 3 letters. And so what we can look at is at the abstract level. And if we take sin as an example, and lam and mim, okay, these can be in different ways. So it can be sin, lam, mim, or lam, sin, mim, or mim, lam, sin, okay? They actually provide an abstract level of meaning, right? Just those 3 words in different combinations, okay? What happens is that if we want a concrete level of meaning, we put them in order. So let's put sin and lam and mim together, okay? And use these as the basic roots. The 3-letter roots, yeah? And this gives the meaning, salima, of peace, or submission, or security, okay? So when it's ordered in this way, as opposed to lam, mim, sin, which is lamisa, okay, which is to touch, okay, all right? But the touch also it's closer to the abstract meaning of protection and security. So lamisa would have a different concrete meaning, all right? Okay, but the Arabic is based on 3 letters.
Sorry, just going to ask. In the abstract level
Yep.
example, they are in the same order.
No.
So
No. So it can be lam, sin, and mim, or it could be mim, sin, lam at the abstract. So these are 3 letters that can be mixed around. But what you find at that abstract level, there is it has an abstract meaning of protection of some sort.
yeah.
What that's not so important. What's important is how, when they put into combination, so which is coming first. So this is how they can be. So it could be sin, lam, mim, sin, okay? And the other one would be mim, lam, sin. Yeah, okay?
But we'll be talking about just these three letters.
Yes,
Okay.
just these three letters. But you can imagine you could combine these three letters of any of the 29. And so that's when you get such diverse vocabulary and meaning, okay? So we're talking about the concrete level. So you have these three letters. The next level, so you've got 29 letters. You combine them into three. So there you got your concrete root. And then what you have next to that, from this root, is a combination of words, okay? And so what I mean by that, if we take the sin, la, mim, so you can have salima, as we talked about. You can have Muslim, okay? You can have salim, okay? So you can have a whole variety of words. One that you can think of is sajda, to make sujood, and masjid, which is a place where you make sujood. Yeah? So this comes to when these can elaborate into a combination of words based on these three-letter roots. Okay? And then once you get to that level, the next level is to combination of words together. And these combination of words make sentences. Right? Okay. And the last is how they are expressed. Okay. So you start from abstract, which is just taking three letters. Okay. They can be in different kind of sequences, to the concrete, which is the root. So taken in order, first, second, and third. Then a combination of words that can come out of that, like salima, muslim, salim, and a whole lot of words that can be derived from these root letters. Then you can combine them to words, into making sentences, and then how they're combined gives you this expression, okay? And if we were to now try and say, well, what does that mean in practicality? Well, the root is going to come from the lugha, okay? Which is the dictionary, all right? The combination of words that come out from that is the study of sarf, okay? Which is the study of how the words are created from these roots. The combination of words, how the words are combined together, is nahu, okay? And the expression of how these words are combined in different ways is balagha. Yeah? And so for the purposes of our study is really that we have to know about the science of sarf and the science of nahu. The science of word is how words are formed from the root, which is the lugha, and that is from the dictionary. Lugha from the dictionary, sarf is how these words are formed in different ways, nahu is how the words are constructed together, and balagha, which we won't really touch upon, is that what I'm trying to say is that when you start to appreciate how precise the Quran is, why Allah expresses in this way, because you will have the sarf and nahu behind you, the sciences. Alright? The important point is, well, why do I need to know sarf? Why is it not all in a dictionary? The point is, in the dictionary, if you have Muslim, as an example, and you say you didn't know what the word Muslim was, how would you look that up in the dictionary? It's not like in English where you look under meme and look for Muslim. It would come under salima, the root. So in a way, you have to know what that root is to get to the lugha. And that's why the science of sarf is so important. Is if I come across salim, how do I know what salim means? Well, what's the root? Well, you'll know from the science of sarf that it's a sin, lam, and mim, and then you can go to the lugha and find out, oh, that's what it means, and salim therefore means this through the science of sarf. Okay? So the dictionaries are a challenge, and we need to know sarf in order to know the words that we need to then be able to look up. Okay?
So in
Yeah.
Arabic dictionary,
Yeah.
you will look up words like, starting from alphabet, meme, or anything like that.
Because it's based on the three roots. So for example, masjid, if you wanted to find masjid in an Arabic dictionary, you'd have to look under seen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sajid.
And sajid as well. Sajid is easy because it's got those three letters, but like masjid,
What's the root word for masjid?
it's sajada, seen, jim, and dal. So you'd have to be able to find it. Or like there's other more complicated word like istansuru, which means he sought help. Istansuru is one word in Arabic, istansuru. So is it starting with the alif? Is it starting with the sin? It's actually noon, sad, and ra, nasara. So it's from nasara. But the word is istansuru. But when you know the science of sarf, you actually know it's the nasara that I have to look up and find out what it means. And then you find it is to help. And then ist, which is the bit in before, is actually an addition, okay, which means to seek. So therefore, to seek help. Yeah. But ist by itself means to seek what? You have to know what the nasara is. Yeah. Okay. And that can be for any other word that you can add. So that's why the science of sarf is so important. Okay. Because you will not be able to find the meaning unless you know what it boils down to in terms of its roots. And so the sarf is really about what does it boil down to its roots and how is it expressed in these different formats. And they have different meanings. And that's what we will cover in the lessons to come. Okay?
What's that, the third red one there?
Nahu. Nahu.
Nahu.
Yeah, Nahwu. And Nahwu is the science between how the words come together to make a sentence, a jumla. Okay?
We call it sarf and
Yeah. Okay? So the key thing that I want you to really just get into your head for this particular summary is that, abstract is how, what letters do they pick, to concrete, which is your root letters, and there are three, okay? And from the three letters, there can be many derivations, many combinations through that, okay, which is called the science of sarf. And then these words come with other words, and how do they come together? That's the science of nahu, in terms of what comes first and how they produce a sentence. And then how Allah chooses those types of words coming together is the balagha, the expression. Okay? All right. And I'll give you I'll give you an example of a sentence which just illustrates this. So for example, if I want to say like Zayd hit Amr, for example, I would say Zaydun as daraba Zaydun Amran. Okay? All right? Now, if we wanted to say in Urdu, you say Zayd ne Amr ko mara. Yeah? Okay? But what's interesting here, and in English, you can only say in one way, which is like Zayd hit Amr. Okay? Now, what's interesting is that it's very specific. So in English, always the subject comes first, then the verb, and then the object. SVO. Zayd hit Amr, the object. Okay? Now, in Arabic and English, you could do it combination. So you could say Amr ne Zayd ko mara. Okay? Or you could say it, or Amr ne Zayd ko mara. Or mara Zayd ne Amr ko. Yeah? So you've got different combinations. Okay? Same in Arabic. So you can say daraba Zaydun Amran, but you can say Amran daraba Zaydun. So you can come with these 6 combinations. However, what's interesting in Arabic is that you can do that in 3 words, whereas in Urdu, you still have to use 5 words. You have to have the ko and ne. If you don't have the ko and ne, then you're lost. You're confusion. Whereas in Arabic, you don't need that. All right, and I want to illustrate this for you because that's what I said to you, is that the vowels are important because it all comes in the vowels. Okay. So, with in the English we said, Zaid hit Amr. Okay, so subject, verb, object. Okay, in Arabic we said that the standard way is to use the daraba, which means hit. So daraba, and then you go Zaidun. Amran, yeah? Okay. So here we've got daraba Zaidun Amran. And then but you could put Amran Zaidun first, daraba Amran, yeah? The reason being is because you can see that in each one of those combinations there is a fathatain in Amran, there is a dammatain in Zaid, and there's daraba, which has this particular format. Okay, so each has a unique. So the fatha on Amr makes it the object, the end. The dhamma on Zayd makes it the subject. You see? So that's replacing your ne and ko, is these end words, end vowels. So that's why you can put daraba at the end. So as long as you can say Zaydun daraba Amran or Amran daraba Zaydun, because it's the dhamma that signifies the subject and it's the fatha that signifies the object. So you can see, without those, it's mass confusion. Zayd and Amr daraba, which is who? Who hit who? Yeah? It's these vowels at the end, yeah, that determine. So you can see they're actually providing an extra meaning, not just pronunciation. Yeah? Okay? So this is the sophistication in the Arabic language, and it does it with a minimum of 3 words. In Urdu, you have flexibility, but you have to do it in 5 words. In Arabic, you have flexibility, but also in the most efficient way, in the minimum of 3 words. And in English, you have no flexibility, but you have it in 3 words, but no flexibility in it. You can't say Amr, well, if you did, Amr hit Zayd, it's a completely different meaning. There's no way of expressing in English in any other way except subject first, verb, and then object. There's no other way. And so these combinations, if you say in Urdu, you can tell that, Amran ko Zayd ne mara, it has a different emphasis if you say it another way. Right? This is now what I talk about the method of expression. And so in a more technical way, why does Allah, for example, put the subject first in this ayat and then the verb? Or why does Allah put the verb right at the very end and puts the subject and object first? So that's in the context of what is being said. This is when you start getting to the realms of balagha and thinking, why did Allah express it in this way? Because there are 6 ways of expressing, Allah chose this one. And that's the context of what was before and after, the storyline, the context, everything, yeah? That's when you start to appreciate some things, which is what we all want to be able to do. And you'll never be able to appreciate that by reading a translation.
Is that Zaydun or Zaydun?
Zaydun.
So if we say
Yeah.
Daraba Amran Zaydun.
Yes?
That would be the same meaning?
Same meaning. So the meaning is exactly the same, but the emphasis is different. Because now you put Amran first. Amran ko Zayd ne mara. It's a different emphasis.
So that's fatha.
That's a fatha. Yeah, sorry, that's a fatha and that's done. Yeah.
Is verb?
No, that's
No.
subject.
Subjective.
Yeah, we'll go into all of that later, but just
It's subjective.
Huh? Subject is...
we'll go into that later because it's a complete science. But the idea I want you to just grasp now is that it's the end vowel that determines the subject and the object. In this case.
And also that's why probably reading Quran, you have to be careful where, if fatha is pronounced fatha or dhamma is pronounced dhamma.
Of course.
Because that would change otherwise.
The meaning changes. Let's see. And that's what you hear people say, like the Arabs say, oh look, if you just pronounce it just slightly different, it means a total different thing. Now you can start to see why. Zaydun, Zaydan. Amran, amrun, you know.
So your subject changes into
Just
object.
on the pronunciation. And the pronunciation is through the vowels, and that's what alters the meaning, as you can just see.
Well, if I look, the people, I mean Arabic people, they don't look at these, we call them Arabs, but
Tashkil, yeah. The harakat, yeah.
then how do they find out, like, which one is Zaidun and which one
Okay.
is...
First of all, so in that sense, it's like, for example, in English, like I will give you an example in English, and this will answer this completely. So,
Can I just say something while those are landing? You know, I often used to think that, but if Bismillah now is written without tashkil, can we pronounce Bismillah? Right? Yeah,
No.
because we know this is what I'm
Back
saying.
of our mind, it's already there, all the zubbers and bays and everything.
can anyone
That's what they have.
can anyone read this? So my writing's a bit wrong.
I-R-A...
No, it's sorry.
I have a PlayStation with me.
Yeah, there's no vowels in this. Right. So the point is that the pattern of the letters, the context, tells you. And so, but this doesn't work in classical. You know, this is like standard Arabic, so they don't need to worry about tashkil. So a lot of the writings you'll find are without these vowels because it's understood within the context. In classical Arabic, you can still get there, and this is a whole part of the course, is that you can still get there through the science of knowing, you know, without the tashkil, what it actually is, what is what, and the context as well. So, for example, the context here, so if we didn't have this, we just had Zayd and Amr, yeah? So the context would be what's happened before. So it'd have to be like Zayd is chasing after Amr. Then, Daraba Zaydun Amran. Then you know in the context that it's Zayd the one that's hitting because he's the one that's chasing. So Zayd chases Amr with a bat. Then, Thumma Daraba Zaydun Amran. Then you know the context that it would be Zayd that's be hitting Amr.
But without that context, even Arabs, they won't be able to differentiate
They
the
don't.
object or subject in this case.
Yeah.
And the rules that you mentioned, that for example in this one, daraba, will verb always have all fathas?
No.
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 Okay.
So, but we're going to introduce you to these things slowly. So this is just, I don't want you to analyze too deeply because we're going to go for it step by step. But what I want you to be able to appreciate is the comprehensiveness of the language. And I'll give you one more example of the comprehensiveness. So this is comprehensive in terms of combinations of words. I'm going to give you this one, you know. And I just mentioned it to you just briefly. Yeah. Yeah. So is tansaru. Okay.
Even as far.
It is sad. Sorry. Istansuru. That's right. Istansuru. This is one word in Arabic. But if you wanted to say that in English, you'd have to say, they seek, sought, because it's past tense, and we'll go into that later. They sought help. So in English, you'd have to have at least a minimum of 3 words just to describe that one word in Arabic, istansuru. Yeah. And in some words, you have to have 6 words to describe one word in Arabic. This is just a simple one, just to give you an example. Okay? So there is so much comprehensiveness with each Arabic word that at the minimum it takes 3 English words to describe it. Okay? So this is the things that we're going to start to, and that's why the science of sarf is that important. The science of the complexity of the word itself, and how. So in this example, we'd have to know what the root words are. Yeah. So with your science of sarf, you would know that ist is a prefix, and then you'll see, and this is the suffix, and then you've got nasara in the bit, which is your root. So you've got your refix, your prefix, and your suffix. And that's through science of sarf, you'll be able to work that out. And then you thought, this is the root nasara, I can look that in the dictionary, and that means to help, and I know that means this suffix means they, this means to seek, they seek help. You've worked it out. Okay? And you'd be able to do it without the harakats. Because like we said, this is a pattern you'll be familiar to seeing. You'll know there's got to be a kasra here. Yeah? You will know that. And so the whole idea is that when we go through this, is that we're going to have examples after examples after examples of just working through the text. So it will become second nature. So it's not a question of you just listing it. This means you'll just come through so many that you'll passively just pick it up. And what we will do is that we'll go through the text with the tashkil all attached. And that will be for like maybe a year or so at least. And then after that we get to the point where we go into text that has no tashkil. But you'll be at the position where you'll be able to work it out because you've seen it so many times before. Yeah? Like you did, I have the PlayStation. It'll become like that for you without the vowels. Yeah? Okay?
One more question, brother. You mentioned that Dhamma and the other thing, Fatha.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring one more example.
Sure.
In Kalima Tayyiba, we say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah.
Yeah.
In Azan, they say Muhammadur Rasulullah.
Yes.
So what's the difference?
Okay. So La ilaha illallah Muhammad, it should be La ilaha. Both work. Okay. It depends on what's coming before. So if you said Ashhadu La ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. So it depends on the word. So it depends on what the word comes before. I don't want to go into too much complexity, but basically it's a grammatical thing. Okay. So it's the anna that makes it into Muhammadar. When there's no anna, it's Muhammadur. And I will go into that detail later in the lesson. So so it's the anna that actually converts it into the fatha. Okay, without the anna, it's the...
I didn't know that. Okay, that's something new for me.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's the ashhadu anna that makes it dar. But you'll now be able to appreciate that, but not only will you be able to appreciate it, you'll know exactly why. You will know exactly why, and in fact, to the point where actually you would automatically say it because it's the anna. You would say it has to be fatha. There's no way else it can work. This is where we need to get ourselves to that point. And that's only through reading lots of text, which we are going to go through. So the idea with these lessons is that I'm going to give you basic theory, just the basic to get started on the text. And then we will go through text and add in the few bits of theory that adds on. So the theory that we're going through here is the core theory, just to get you moving. Yeah? Because if we did 100% theory and grammar, we're all going to be deflated, we're all going to feel overloaded, and we're just going to lose the inspiration. So really, it's just giving you the core text to just get started with some words and get them together, and then when we introduce a new concept, we'll add that to our core table of knowledge. Okay, so this is how I'm going to try and do it, inshallah. And if we get stuck, we can reverse back and go through some old concept. So this idea is that I want you to just have this in your sense. 3 letters, it's the root. Then there's the combination of those letters, like the prefix and the suffix, that gives you the sarf. And then how these words come together. We know in the verbal sentence it can be a combination. Yeah. Okay. So I want you to just get that sense of that's how the Arabic language is, a taste of it, a tone. Okay?
Sorry to interrupt, Maghrib is already gone.
No, it's 5 past 8. We said that.
9.
Half past 8 now.
It's okay.
It's okay? Alright.
We can
Alright.
we can pray now.
Whatever you want.
Because they say it's up to Isha time.
Okay, alright, that's fine.
We'll go a few more minutes more and then we'll pray Maghrib, inshallah. Okay, so the last one I want to cover today, which is really, it's going to give you the map now of the Arabic language. The map. Alright? And the map is not that detailed. all right? But it will stand you in very good stead, the map. What I will do, I've got it in two ways I can do this. I'll do it first in English, and then I want to start putting Arabic in there because I don't want us to be shy away from it. Yeah, but I don't want to also scare you, but I just want you to start getting to grasp of some of these Arabic terminology, yeah, so that it becomes second nature for us. It'll be very slow in the beginning, but if we keep using them, haraka, tashkil, it's going to, you know, we're more likely to, kalima, you know, we're more likely to use it, you know, in our general vocab, and also when we're studying about it, we're not going to be scared away, right? So I'm going to say it like a sound, right? This is the map of the Arabic. You make a sound, right? That sound is going to be either meaningful or gibberish, non-meaningful, right? Just from a sound, okay? So we all know what that means, yeah? So that's a non-meaningful sound, okay? A meaningful sound is what we're talking now, okay? So obviously we're going to concentrate on the meaningful side for Arabic, okay? So in the meaningful sound, we're going to get 3 types of situations. We're going to get a word. We're going to get a combination of words, which then can be either a phrase or a sentence. Okay? So a meaningful sound can be a word, hello. A meaningful combination is in the garden, is a phrase, in the garden. A meaningful sentence is I am in the garden. Right? Okay. So this is like, so if we look at the words in Arabic, that boils down to basically 3 types of word in Arabic. Okay. You've got the noun, you've got the verb, and you've got the particles. Okay? All right? Now, I'm going to start to actually put some Arabic in replacement of this so you get a sense of what I'm trying. Because it's better in the Arabic, it's more comprehensive. So, lafz is utterance, lafz, lafz. Okay? Mawdu is meaningful.
This is sword or door. Mouth.
Yeah, let me just check my, could be, yeah, sorry. Mawdu, sorry, mawdu. Okay? So that's the dod, mim wa, dod wa, an ayn. Mawdu.
It's a dot on top.
Mawdu.
Yes,
Sword and door.
This is also dod. Sorry, mawdu. Sorry. Okay? So you've got the mawdu, and then a word is kalima. Combination, murakkab. Okay. And then you've got murakkab phrase, which they say is غير مفيد. غير مفيد, and this is مراكبة مفيد. This is with benefit, and I'll explain what that means.
It's really, it comes out of it. Phrase, غير مفيد and it's
Now, what that means is that when I say غير مفيد, that means without benefit, basically, literally. What it's trying to say is, like, I say in the garden, it's not right to pause there for a sentence. What about in the garden? In the garden, there is a tree. That's a full sentence. That is with mufid. That becomes a sentence. So in the garden is a phrase. Or I am in the garden, then becomes a mufid, a complete sentence. Or jumla is another short way of saying it. Jumla. Jumla, which means sentence. Okay? Now, the interesting thing...
Sorry, so what is non-meaningful?
Muhmal. Muhmal. Yeah, light.
This is in Urdu grammar as well.
Oh, okay. So, alhamdulillah. So you can just double check I'm doing.
ਹੁਣ ਖੀਰ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਜਾਣੀ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਦੋਸਤ ਕੋਲ ਬਰਾਤੀ ਵੀ ਪੁੱਛ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਦੂਸਰਾ ਵੀ ਕੁਝ ਸੁਣਦਾ ਪਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਜਾਣਦਾ ਯਾਰ ਦੇਸੀ ਕਿੱਧਰ ਬੁਲਾਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੀ आप ही सुंदर हो गया
So, Ikhwan.
मतलब नहीं बताएगा I don't know.
So, Ikhwan, in this, what the interesting thing I want you to look at is what I put in blue. This is the map of the Arabic language, okay? There are 3 types of words. There are 15 types of phrases in Arabic, and there are 2 types of sentences in Arabic. That is the Arabic language there for you. Isn't it easy? Yeah.
3 types of words.
3 types of words. And those 3 types of words actually, so instead of, I don't want to replace noun and verb and particles with this. Now, ism is for the noun. Verb is fi'l. And for the particles, it's harf. Harf. Okay? These are the 3 types of words. Ism, fi'l, and harf. Okay? And so, in combination of these 3 things, you can then get murakkab, which is a combination of words, basically. So, murakkab kalimat. Yeah? Combination of these words gives you the phrases, or can give you complete benefit to make a jumla. And the jumla that I will go to for this purpose is basically 2. And the 2 are jumla to ismiya and jumla fi'liya. Verbal sentences and nominative sentences. Okay? So fi'liya and ismiya. Okay? And I want us to use those because the ism is not just the noun. Alright? Okay? So let me just put those 2 sentences for you. So we have jumla ismiya and jumla fi'liya. Fi'liya. Ismiya and fi'liya. Okay?
This is Fa'an.
So Fa'ain, Lam, and Ya. Fi'liya with a ta marbuta at the end. So verbal sentences and ismiya nominative sentences. Okay? Now, so we know there are 2 types of sentences. If we now, with the phrases, I'll come to because there are 15. So that's something that we can look at in later in the next lesson because I don't want to overload it. Okay? And what I'm going to do is probably just talk a little about these 3 types of what do I mean by ismiya, what is it exactly, and then we're going to finish it today, and then next time inshallah we'll revise over some of the things we talked about and then move a bit more forward inshallah. So let's just get the map again in our heads. So we have lafz, an utterance of some sort. Is it going to be muhmal, gibberish, or it's going to be mawdu', which means it's meaningful. If it's mawdu', it's going to be 3 types of things. It's going to be kalima, words. It's going to be murakkab, which means a combination of those words that either make a ghayru mufid, a phrase, or a mufid, a jumla, a complete sentence. The complete sentence is going to be either fi'liya, a verbal sentence, or it's going to be ismiya, a nominative sentence. The phrases are going to be lots of different phrases, 15, which we'll cover next time. The words, we know, are going to be also of 3 types, right? There's going to be ism, fi'l, and harf. Okay, so we understand that. So now the next thing we need to know, and this is where we'll end, inshallah, is on ism and these words here. So ism is more than a noun, all right? Okay, and I'm just going to give you a really basic grammar revision on nouns and things like that in a very simplistic way that it's just, it's not technical at all, but you'll understand the differences. Okay, so for isms, there are many types of isms. There are nouns, there are adjectives, okay, there are also adverbs, okay, and there are also pronouns. Okay, this is basically isms, okay, not just nouns. Nouns are basically entities. There are things, people, yeah, so there are things or places. So they're persons, things, or places, and are some sort of entity, a physical entity. That's what a noun is. So Makkah is an entity, Nadim is an entity, so we'd be called nouns. Yeah, a teacher is a noun. It's an entity. It's something that somebody who teaches. All right. A pronoun is basically an abbreviation of that. So my name is Nadim. You can replace him with he is the teacher. So Nadim is the teacher, or he is the teacher. So that becomes a personal pronoun. It replaces the noun. It abbreviates the noun. Or I write on the board, right? The board is the noun. Or I write on it. That's the pronoun, it. So it abbreviates to the noun. Okay? So that's how pronouns are. Okay? So it's he, him, his, it, her. These are all pronouns. Okay? These are personal pronouns. Adjectives describe and modify the nouns. So Nadim is tall. Nadim is fat. Right? Nadim has a beard. Nadim is dark. Yeah? So that is the adjective. Tall boy. So the tall is the adjective describing the noun, boy. So it describes and modifies the noun. The adverb modifies the verb. So he writes, verb, writes, quickly. So quickly is the adverb. Quickly. So he writes. That's the verb, writes. Quickly is the adverb. Okay? Or it can also modify the adjective. Okay? So for example, he is so tall, the boy is tall, or the tall boy, or the very tall boy. So very is the adverb that's modifying the adjective tall, which is describing the noun. The very tall boy. So very is the adjective modifying the adjective. That is it in a very simple way. But it will help us when it comes to describing some of the things that we will do. So now I will not be using nouns. I'll be using ism. And then in ism we can say this is a noun, or this is an adjective, or this is an adverb. Because the rules are around the ism, not around these necessarily. Alright? So you really need to know what the rules of ism is. And you need to understand ism really encompasses these 4 types of words. Nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and pronouns.
So in Arabic, all 4 types are just ism.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So then it begs the question, what are harfs then? So if he, him, and his are small words, like particles, and they're actually isms, yeah? So what are harfs, yeah? So harfs are things like and, wa, or al, alif wa, or it can be, I've got a few other examples, prepositions, in, on, at, yeah? So these are prepositions. These in themselves have no meaning. Yeah? They have meaning in terms of the words that come around them. Right? So for example, I am in the garden. So the in is only meaningful because of the I and the garden. In on itself means nothing. In, what does that mean? Without the words that come around it, it has no meaning at all. So this is this is one of the things of like these harus. They have no meaning in themselves, intrinsic meaning. Yeah, their meaning is based on the other words around them that give it meaning. All right. So that's the important distinction. So man is who. Yeah. So with man, what would that be? Would that be a ism, like a pronoun, or would it be a harf, for example?
Depends on the context.
Man, yeah.
No, I think like you said, I think it would depend on the context.
Yeah, depending on
what
the
context it's spoken in.
No, you're correct. Man is who. Who is a replacement of a person. Who? Who is this? So you're basically saying, yeah. So you're saying who is this? Who is a human being? Who? So human is a noun. Whereas min, from, doesn't have any intrinsic meaning, except if you say, I am from Mecca. Then from has a meaning in terms of the words, but in itself, min, from, has no meaning. So man does. So it's actually a pronoun. It abbreviates to a noun. Man, who. Okay? So you'll get the sense of it. So these are the two. And then obviously you've got the fi'l, which is the verbs. And we already sort of touched upon that for the example of like istansuru or salima, okay? And we know that they've got 3 letters, and we know that they can be compound. And so so a lot of the science of sarf is through the verbs, because there's so many different derivations of verbs. To try and work out what are those root letters is the science. And that's where we will start to actually embark on this journey, inshallah. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. What I want to just, in really 2 sentences, is just to summarize what we did today. Okay, so if we go back, we talked about the concept of the alphabet and how those alphabets have 3 letters that combine together. The 3 letters in any order have an abstract meaning. In a particular order of those 3 letters, it has a concrete meaning, which is the base and the root. That base and root has many derivations and products, yeah, like Muslim, masjid, from the root, yeah, and that's the science of sarf. Then we said, okay, we have these words, but they have other words that come together. All right, how those words come together is nahu, the science of grammar, how they attach together. Okay. And then the way they're attached together, because of the different combinations, is the balagha, is the emphasis. And we use zaid, near, amarko, mara, as in the Urdu, we know, which has flexibility, but more words. English has minimal words, efficiency, but no flexibility. But Arabic has minimal words, efficiency, and flexibility. And that flexibility in the Arabic is on the tashkil. Yeah? So the tashkil, which are the vowels, help you to pronounce, but also give the meaning, as we've just seen with daraba, zayl, amran. Yeah? So we understood the importance of that. Then after that, we moved on to the map of the Arabic language. So the utterance, the lafz, has a meaningful and a meaningless. The meaningful breaks down into kalima, words, and those words can be in combination, either as a phrase, غير مفيد, or as a complete sentence with full meaning, which is mufid, yeah? And those words can be of 3 types: ism, fi'l, and harf. Okay? The ism doesn't mean noun. Nouns are one of its meanings, but it has pronouns, it also has adjectives, and it has adverbs. We know the noun is an entity, it's a thing, or a person, or a place. The pronoun is an abbreviation of that. The adjective modifies the noun. The tall man, adjective. The adverb modifies the verb very quickly, or the adjective very tall man. Okay, so we understood that side. We understood that the harf are particles, but they have no entity or meaning in themselves. The meaning comes through the words that come around it. Yeah? So for example, in itself has no meaning unless you say I or Nadine is in the room. Then in has that meaning to facilitate it. So we understood that as well. We understood that the sentences which are called jumla is of two types. Fi'liya, which is verbal sentences, and ismiya, which is nominative sentences. And this we will explore in later, inshallah. And we also understood that phrases are of 15 types. We don't know what they are yet, but we appreciate there are 15 types of phrases in the Arabic language. That is the map. So, subhanaka wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha ant wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.